there's a story here that says NDC vows to secure justice for 8 killed during 2020 polls if it wins power. Let me just get into that story there. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, has vowed to pursue those responsible for 8 individuals who lost their lives during the 2020 general elections. Now, the chairman of the party, Johnson Mahama, at a press conference at the party's headquarters on Monday, promised that the next NDC government will deliver justice to every individual who had been a victim of the current government's misgovernance, including the families of the 8. Let me assure you, as we commemorate 31 years of the 1992 Constitution that restored Ghana to democratic governance, that the next NDC government shall deliver justice to all the victims of this government's misrule. We shall go after the perpetrators who murdered the 8 Ghanaians during the 2020 elections. We shall find the perpetrators. We shall punish the perpetrators when we win power on December 7th this year. NDC's flag bearer, John Mahama, also in a statement issued on Sunday to commemorate 31 years of Ghana's Fourth Republic, slammed the alleged use of thugs and rogue elements within the security agencies and said they are often used to disrupt elections in some parts of the country, as occurred in the 2020 elections, leading to the loss of 8 lives. He described the killings as saddening, and said it's unconscionable that President Akufo-Addo has not uttered even a word of sympathy to the bereaved families. Now, the story ends by saying Commissioner of Police COP Isaac Kenyeboah at a press conference last week, a week after the 2020 elections, disclosed that the total of 8 lives, including 3 minors, were lost during the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. Now, this story here basically, leads us to this conversation. The president had complained about the lack of concession by John Mahama when he won in 2020. And the NDC is saying that that's not what you should be concerned about. You should be concerned about bringing justice to people who lost their lives and all of those things. That's what you should concern yourself with, not whether when you won, you got a concession or not. After all, so my question is, first of all, Elvis, what do you make of this as it's happening now? Of course, it's election year, so then everything is fair game, as it were. But again, when you win, does anybody have to concede to validate your win?
Well, it is a convention we have established. It's not by law that somebody should always call to congratulate the winner in an election. But it's a convention. And so the convention, you are not bound by law to implement a convention. Convention, you implement it if you believe in it. If you don't believe in a convention, you don't implement it. So for me, the complaint by the president that he wasn't invited, he wasn't congratulated.
Yeah.
It's normal political talk because we are in election season.
Okay.
And everybody wants to just start something to prove that this person really is not somebody you can trust and that he doesn't have the nation at heart and all that.
Yeah.
So for me, I think these things are very important. You see, when Akufo-Addo lost the election petition, he called John Mahama to congratulate him.
Yeah.
So I don't see why President Mahama up to now
hasn't done so.
Has refused to congratulate him. But as I said, it's a convention. If you want, you implement. If you don't want, you will not implement. It's not a force. So that one, I don't think is an issue. For me, my issue is more of what the Asedi Ketia replied to that issue.
Yes.
I think that the politicians should be very, very careful in this country. They are one of the biggest problems we have. And we should not let this year be another year of politicians coming to create any violence. 2020 elections, the records are clear that at the end of voting, there was no violence anywhere. It was a very peaceful election. Collation started, counting started. Few results came in, then the NDC quickly organized a press conference and said they have won the elections. and that their supporters should troop to wherever coalition is taking place to protect their victory. This is where the violence started. But then this is now that organized press conference talking this thing. It's unfortunate. Voting was peaceful. There was no incident of violence in the voting center. Coalition started, some results started coming in. The same day, not the following day, the NDC organized a press conference and said for them, they are their own results. They have won the elections. Okay? They claim they have their own results and that they have won the elections. And that their supporters should mass up to any coalition that is going on center to go and protect their victory. Because they suspect that the NPP might try to overturn their victory. At that time, they were making that concession. With the benefit of hindsight for Shedun Ketia's revelations, they didn't even have a collated figures. NDC, by what Shedun Ketia has come to tell us that what happened, their coalition has broken down long ago. They didn't even have any results of whatever coalition they were supposed to be doing. So on what basis did they hold that press conference to tell their supporters that they had won election, that they should go to their polling stations to go and protect their victory? We should not let politicians make 2024 election what happened in 2020. All the violence that happened in 2020 that anybody shouted. If we want to be truthful to ourselves, it was caused by an NDC press conference that says that they had won an election and that their supporters should mass up to wherever any coalition is going on to go and protect their ballot. And that was when NDC supporters started massing up to certain police stations. People felt, security even felt threatened, and they had to be firing, and that has led to the death of people. So I don't see why Shedun Ketia should come out and be holding a press conference and be trying to blame the president. Was the president who told the NDC people that they should mass up to those places? See, we should not let election become a place of violence. You see, is it the president was the one who killed, who is responsible and all that? If you have asked them to go and cause violence, and out of what you have asked them to go and do, they ended up losing their life, why are you blaming the president? Is the president the one who said they should go and cause violence? When we voted and there was no violence in any polling station, was it not a good thing? Why couldn't you wait for the electoral commission to come and declare the final results for us to know that this person has won or this person has won? You deceive the whole country by saying that you know that you have won an election. 2-3 years down the line, you come out to come and tell the whole country that you knew you didn't win the elections. You knew you didn't win the election. You went and filed a frivolous election petition, and now you've come out to tell us that you didn't even have figures, and that even though your coalition broke down, why should politicians be doing this to us? And this debt, you see, if I say he wants the people who are responsible, one of the people is from his party.
Why did you say
the 12-year-old girl that was killed in Tamale? The police said that a chief who is part of the NDC, they fired a gunshot from the NDC parliamentary candidate's office. That led to the death of a 12-year-old girl in Tamale. This is police investigations.
Okay.
And this Kenyabua's update that he gave is that the chief of Duko in Savlugu, Duko now Muhammad Ahmed, and 2 others were arrested in relation to the shooting of a 12-year-old girl, Zakaria Samira, and 3 others when some supporters of the NDC were jubilating after the elections, because you told them that you have won the elections, they should go and jubilate. And out of the jubilation, according to the police, somebody fired a shot
from the
office.
office.
Said that police investigation had revealed that the shooting emanated from the office of the parliamentary candidate of the NDC, Alhaji Idris Yakubu, and that the weapon used was an AK-47. He said a joint military and police operation led to the retrieval of an AK-47 rifle with 2 magazines loaded with 40 rounds of ammunition and a G3 ammunition with a cartridge from the chief of Duko. When the team searched the office of the MP, the parliamentary candidate of the NDC, when the team searched in his absence, another AK-47 rifle with 2 magazines loaded with 60 rounds of ammunition were found. Mr. Yeboah said Yakubu, who is the parliamentary candidate, failed to report to the police, even though he had been invited, while the chief of Duko had been put before the Tamale magistrate court. So if Shedun Ketia is sitting there telling us that it is the president who killed the people or who orchestrated it, the police investigation is saying that a 12-year-old girl who is part of the 8 that were killed
Is this article available online?
Yes, it's available online. This is graphic online that published this one. In fact, it gives every incident, it gives you what has happened at every incident. But I'm focusing on this because this is an NDC parliamentary candidate. If I say Nketia is aware that shots were fired from an NDC parliamentary candidate's office.
Yeah.
And it led to the tragic death of a 12-year-old girl in Savlugu. And then you come and organize a press conference and say, Ghanaians should blame the president. What happened? It says they were celebrating because you, the NDC, held a press conference and told Ghanaians that you have won the election, so people should go on the street and celebrate. You, the same as said 3 years down the line, come to tell us that you knew that NDC never won the elections and that your own coalition center broke down. And then the figures the Electoral Commission presented in court, you were not challenging it because you knew that you lost the elections. So when we are going to 2024 elections and people have started making this kind of comment, we should be bold and tell them, it is tragic that a 12-year-old who doesn't even vote, who is not qualified to vote, should lose their life because of elections. And this thing they say is coming from your parliamentary candidate's office. And you are there organizing a press conference telling us that we should blame the president. Is the NDC parliamentary candidate NPP person? And look at the weapons they say they found in his house. And the person who is said to, the chief who is said to have fired, look at the weapons the person is holding. Are those people to NPP people or government people or national security? So you see, we should not let this year election become what happened in 2020. 2020, if not for that action by the NDC that they want election, people should run to polling station, election people are trying to overturn their victory, they should go and protect their ballot. I can say with confidence that this will not happen. If you are not told people that you have won, you know you lost an election, and you say you have won, you're supposed to have hit the streets celebrating. Somebody fired a shot, somebody gets killed. So we should let people understand that we have agreed in this country when elections are held, Electoral Commission is the final authority to determine, to pronounce election results. Why can't we wait for the Electoral Commission to come and pronounce its results, and if we have any issue, we can raise it. But even when the process has not ended, you had the press conference declaring that you have won an election. Please, we should stop these things, okay? We should stop these things. And some years back, Jacob Echebelamte did a similar thing. Even when the Electoral Commission was here to declare results, he had the press conference to say they have won an election. Please, we should stop pushing people to areas where they will go injured or get killed because we know that we are safe where we are, nothing will happen to us. Let them make pronouncements that will push the ordinary people to the street, to places that they will get injured, and they will turn around to come and do politics with it. We should not let this happen. I think that the death of 8 people is a serious issue. It's a tragic event. And we should not play politics with it. We should rather be learning lessons and asking ourselves, what are we going to do that this year's election we don't experience these things? Okay? But you blame the president for what? Incidents has happened. Police said they are doing investigations.
He even suggests that, he says, Mahama won't congratulate anybody who murders to gain power.
You understand it? So meanwhile, you knew that you were the one who orchestrated all these things. The police have given an update. I am also disappointed in the police that up to now, we have not had any further update on some of them because people have lost their lives. And I think that even there's any call, the NDC will be making a call to the police that we want to know the state of each of these cases. Because this article I'm reading, which is graphic online, the police gave update on all the 8 cases, what actions have been taken at the time for all the 8 cases. And 2020 to now, we are in almost 3 years. December will be 4 years. So if NDC even wants to say they are fighting for the people, I expect that the NDC will call the police and say, we are demanding an update on each of these cases. What is the state of the various cases in terms of trial? Because the police have arrested people and sent them to court. Some were granted bail. In fact, this chief of Doku was granted 100,000 Ghana cedis bail. That the case will continue. So I expect that if we say institutions will work, we should be asking the police and the agents department. Is there anything that the president should now go and dictate the police what to do or should tell the court what to do? I don't think that we should make this 2024 election NDC and NPP attacking each other. We should focus on the issue. We must get closure, to the death of 8 people. We must get closure. But it's not the president you should be attacking. If you have any issue, direct to the police that we want an update on these cases. Then you are generally fighting for the people.
Because they started a full investigation into all of them.
That's the point. Then you are really fighting for the people. But you want political 3 points. So the best thing is to go and attack the president, who is not the one who arrested the people and has no power to arrest. He's not the one who has the power to investigate. He's not the power to prosecute. He's not the court to pronounce judgment on people. So we should not let 2024, please, we should not let 2024 be this NDC attacking, when we know very well that if we want a certain solution, this is where we should go. Okay. The NDC should take their case to the police and say, what is the state of these cases? As a journalist, I'm interested. I want to know each of these cases. What is the status of each case? But we shouldn't let it become another political football. No, we shouldn't let that happen.
All right. Larry.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I mean, I hear Elvis. I also I'm looking at the comment and said it's two things. It's one is congratulate. No, sorry, not congratulate. Rather, commiserate with persons who lost their lives. But it's a focus on that, and as opposed to
you know something. First of all, it's simple that we are in an election year, so a lot of these things are going to come up. I won't be surprised if MPP organizes also a press conference and then also throws out charges and so on. And so, I mean, let's brace ourselves up for press conferences and issues such as this. Now, it's up to us as journalists to sift through some of these things that we hear and also ask the very critical questions. And I'm happy how Elvis went about it. I mean, he took the thing from the Siedun Ketia angle. Sorry, he took it from the president angle that it's a convention that anytime there's an election, just call and then congratulate. Okay. And so, by that doing, at least you kind of lower the tension a bit. It's normal. I see this is not the first time that we'll be having an issue like that. I recall before Akufo-Addo, is it Jake and then Dr. Baumia went for the first election petition that we had.
2012.
Exactly. President Akufo-Addo didn't concede. I'm coming. He didn't concede. And no matter what the African Union, ECOWAS, and all those international bodies did, nothing of the sort happened. His party people were on the streets. Nima was declared like a war zone. Kwame Nkrumah Circle was another one, where cars and other properties of innocent people who were just driving around were vandalized. The party relocated, MPP relocated itself to that side of town. And people couldn't even do their normal businesses anymore because MPP or today's President Akufo-Addo felt aggrieved that the election had been stolen. Until he went for the election petition, and then the Supreme Court came out and said, listen, I mean, there is no issue at all. Then he held a press conference and said, listen, we disagree with the judgment, but we respect it. And that a while ago, I had called President Mahama to concede defeat. So there were events leading to that. So this is not the first time that we are having to deal with an issue. Even in the MPP case, there was staggery. Journalists were beaten. I recall Nana Akomia, and then Oboshi Sai Kofi, and many other people around the MPP, communication wing, moving from media house to media house, apologizing for the violence that had been visited on them. STL, the Israeli company, was one private company that suffered one of those things. People were marching onto EC. Do you get it? So we have had to live with this staggery all this while. Maybe we should congratulate President Mahama that he hadn't resorted to that level of staggery, or his NDC hasn't resorted to that level of staggery. But I see, politicians as we have them, they are masters of a lot of these things. Manipulations. Okay? They are masters of it. We as journalists, sometimes a politician could lead you to that point where at a point you had to just, enough of it. What is this guy playing? Then you have to reassess yourself and say, listen, I'm not going to do this anymore. So it's up to us now as a people to say that, in this election, I want the issues to be tabled. I want to see the policies, what could make my life better. Do you get it? Yeah. That is where we are going. Now, whether or not there is going to be violence in this election, and because there had been an earlier one, I'm also happy that he mentioned that, listen, the focus should be on the police. Yeah. Okay? You did Ken Yabua, he's left the service long ago, about a year or two. Okay? After that, I think that somebody succeeded him, a lady, as a CID boss. Okay, yeah. What's happened to the investigation, after that? The chief that was put on trial and bailed, or granted bail, what's happened to him? There was a gentleman who was also put on trial. He was linked to the Flagstaff House.
The National Security Operative.
Okay. I'm told. Somebody is telling me that he's actually not a National Security Operative, but they quickly had to cook up something around the thing.
Oh, really?
Yes, and give it to him as a cover of, a national security person. But whether national security or not, so long as in the course of his duty something went wrong, there are sometimes service inquiries.
Sure.
Okay, we should take human lives seriously. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, we should do. Because elsewhere, even when a dog is stuck in a hole or a tunnel somewhere, you see how people behave. Sometimes you'll be shocked that a whole heli will be deployed to go and rescue a goat or a sheep. But over here, human beings, Charlie, Omonko, Abuanko, is that where we are going? So some 8 people died, including minors.
Yeah. Yes.
Who didn't vote? Who didn't even understand whatever was happening? Okay? Yeah. People were armed. People suspected to be party boys who had been put in, security uniforms and given guns when shooting in Techiman. Listen, that Techiman one, what was happening? People had I think they had cordoned off the whole area, and then they said that when they counted the results, the NDC guy had won. But then, strangely, another counting was to happen. And then the people were like, listen, we're not going to agree to this whole thing. And that we want the earlier counting to stand. Okay? And from nowhere, we all watched the video, or we saw it. Some people who were dressed like security men started shooting into the crowd.
Yeah, I saw that video.
And by the time that shooting incident was over, at least we counted 6 dead bodies. Under a president or a man who had told us that something, over his dead body with a blood spill. He said that before the election.
So the story on...
And for human rights, he says he's a lawyer, a human rights, person, activist, and so on. And so I think that, listen, we don't even have to wait for the police. He should even be saying that, something, hey, police, where is the investigation? Who have you prosecuted so far? Whether NDC or MPP, jail the person. Yeah. Then we can hold you that, listen, indeed, you're a human rights, person. And then when you are holding that flag or you are running under the banner of, a lawyer, a human rights activist, a president who cares for everybody, then we can hail you that, indeed, you are such a person. But in the absence of that, whether NDC is saying it or we journalists, we are saying it or somebody else is saying it, I think that the politicians will play games with it, if you like. The politicians are going to play games with this. He mentioned Jake. In 2004 held a press conference at the presidency, the Castle Gardens. That was where he held the press conference and declared the results before even the EC will announce it. NDC in this case says that, listen, something, go and protect your ballot. March and go and protect your ballot. Whatever that means. I don't know. But for a whole presidential staffer, at the time, I think he was the director for election for the MPP at the time, even when he declared that. The campaign manager for President Akufo and so on. And said that, listen, we have won the election. And that the EC should declare, or whether the EC declares on, and he gave all manner of statistics at the time. I mean, the video is there for all of us to watch. I mean, listen, Ghana is all we have. Journalists or civil society or politicians and so on, everything must be deployed to protect the, our individual safety.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.